Good evening, everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the counter current mechanism. It's an important essay question asked in your university. The mechanism in which the urine is concentrated is known as the counter current mechanism. The counter current mechanism depends on generation and maintenance of the increased osmolality gradient from the cortex to the medulla in the medullary pyramid. This is the medullary pyramid. Here, see this, the osmolality gradient gets on increasing, and at the base of the pyramid, the gradient is more. There's increased gradient at the base, at the medulla. So, the countercurrent mechanism depends on this gradient. So, this countercurrent mechanism takes place in the loop of Henle, mainly in the extramedullary nephrons. First, we have to know what is osmolality. Osmolality is a concentration of solutes dissolved in the plasma. You already know the plasma osmolality is 300 milliosmol per kg of H2O. This is the 300 milliosmol of electrolytes present in the equal concentration of water. See this, the electrolytes are decreased when compared with water. This is the 200 milliosmol. So, this is the hypoosmotic. Here, see this picture. The electrolyte concentration is high when compared with the concentration of water. So, this is the hyperosmotic. So, this is the hypo, this is the isoosmotic, and this is the hyperosmotic. The countercurrent mechanism consists of countercurrent multiplier and the countercurrent exchanger. Countercurrent multiplier takes place in the loop of Henle and countercurrent exchanger takes place in the vasa recta. See this picture, you can easily understand the countercurrent multiplier. So see, this is the tube and the heater is placed at the bottom of the tube. Now the fluid enters in the tube. So see this temperature 40, 50, 60, it gets on rising. At the base it reaches the maximum level, maximum temperature, and when the fluid moves out of the tube, it gets on decreasing. This is the basic for the countercurrent multiplier. This is the osmolality gradient of the renal medullary interstitium. Now, the proximal convoluted tubule, the fluid present in the proximal convoluted tubule is isoosmotic, and also the interstitium also maintains the 300 milliosmol in the cortex region. See this, so the plasma and the interstitium maintains the same osmolality. Now, as the fluid enters the descending loop of Henle, more of water gets moved out of the descending loop of Henle because this descending loop is more permeable to water and impermeable to solute. So, at the initial stage, more of water is moved out of the tube and more reabsorbed into the interstitium. Now, already more of water is moved out. So, this fluid contains less water when compared with this area. Now, this water when compared with this, less amount of water is moved out in this descending loop of Henle. Again less water and again very less water. Now, the fluid loses its water and when it reaches the loop of Henle, the fluid present in this at the tip of loop of Henle will be hyperosmolar. Now, when the fluid enters the ascending loop of Henle, this ascending loop is impermeable to water and only permeable to solute. So, now more of solutes will get absorbed into the interstitium. Now see, more of solute and very less water in the interstitium makes the interstitium and maintain up to 1200 milliosmol. And again more of and some solutes and very less solute when compared with this solute gets absorbed in the interstitium, and again the solute gets absorbed and again the solute gets absorbed. This movement of the solute will multiply the osmotic gradient of the interstitium. Here is 1200, 800, 600, 400 and up to 300. So this movement of the solutes and water maintain the osmotic gradient of the interstitium. Then now you have to know what happened to the fluid present in the loop of Henle. The volume of the filtrate entered into the loop of Henle is isoosmotic. Now in the descending loop, it is highly permeable to water. I already told it is highly permeable. The water gets moving out. So it becomes hyperosmotic. At the tip of the loop of the Henle, it becomes more hyperosmotic when compared with the interstitium. Now this ascending loop is impermeable to water and permeable to solutes. So more of here here more of solutes enters into the interstitium. So and when the fluid present in the ascending loop of Henle becomes hypoosmolar. When it reaches the distal converter tubule, the fluid becomes hypoosmotic. The sodium and chloride is actively transported in the distal at the thick ascending limb, helps in the building up of higher interstitial osmolality. So the tubular fluid hypoosmotic. Now see the role of collecting duct. In collecting duct, so here the osmolality of the fluid becomes hypo. Depending upon the need of our body, the ADH acts on the distal converter tubule and the collecting duct, and the water gets reabsorbed into the collecting duct. This collecting duct acts as a equilibrium. When the water is getting absorbed and the equal amount of urea gets getting absorbed into the interstitium. See, the water gets absorbed and also the urea gets absorbed in the inner medullary region of the collecting duct. This is the only place where the urea gets reabsorbed. Other areas like loop of Henle, proximal converter tubule, distal converter tubule are impermeable to urea. When the urea gets reabsorbed, it gets moved here. This urea gets secreted into the descending loop of Henle again. And this urea again enters into the loop of Henle and moved to the distal converter tubule and again enters the collecting duct and the urea gets excreted. So the collecting duct acts as a equilibrium. The urea gets reabsorbed through the two transporter, namely urea transporter 1 to urea transporter 4. Okay. Then come to the countercurrent exchanger. Already the countercurrent is multiplied by the loop of Henle. Here the countercurrent, the interstitial gradient is maintained by the vasa recta. See this is the descending limb of vasa recta and this is the ascending limb of vasa recta. Here in the descending limb, the solutes gets diffused into the vasa recta. The solutes gets reabsorbed here, is diffused into the vasa recta, and the water gets moved out of the vasa recta here. And in the ascending limb of vasa, in the ascending limb of vasa recta, the water gets diffused in and the solutes gets moved out of the ascending limb of vasa recta. So here the solutes gets absorbed, solutes get diffused into the vasa recta and water gets moved out. Here water gets moved in and the solutes gets moved out. So this maintains the interstitial osmolality because the equal amount of fluid and water gets replaced. So this exchange is called the countercurrent exchanger. So that's all my topic. Thank you.